Hello students, I hope all you are doing fine. In this pandemic situation, don't go outside, stay inside, and we will be sending you video lectures on YouTube and class notes on our school website. So earlier we got some offline classes to do, and in those classes we discussed the heredity and evolution chapter, but the chapter was left uncompleted due to the corona situation. So in today's video lecture I will be discussing the rest of the lesson, and we will revise what we have learned so far in our offline classes. Okay, so let's begin the video. So what we have learned in our offline classes, we have learned that there are dominant and recessive traits in case of a tall plant and a short plant. If we do reproduction between them, then it is highly likely that the newly produced plant will be tall. It is because the tall character is dominant and the short character is not dominant, or you can call it as recessive. Okay, and other example is in case of seed color, yellow and green, the color yellow is dominant. Okay, then we have learned acquired and inherited traits. So acquired traits are those that you acquire in our lifetime. For example, you can drive a car. It is a acquired trait. You learned it, but it does not make any changes in your reproductive tissues or cells. So it does not pass on to the next generation through heredity. Okay, then inherited traits are those traits that you gain from your parents, your grandparents, your forefathers. For example, attached ear lobes or non-attached ear lobes, it is an inherited trait. We have discussed it already, so I am just doing the revision of it. Then sex determination in human. So humans have 23 pairs of chromosome, and among them one pair is the sex chromosome, and females have XX chromosome and male have XY chromosome. Then evolution, we learned evolution. We gave one example of red bugs, green bugs. Then speciation, how different species occur from the same organisms. So speciation was what? When the two organisms cannot reproduce between each other, then we can call them as different species. For example, in case of a green bugs, earlier they were the same species, but due to natural selection, or because of the crows, or because of the elephant, the green bugs and the red bugs separated, and then after a long time the variation was so huge that they cannot produce between each other, and then now they are two different species. Okay, so up to this point was the revision. So now we will talk about the next part. Tracing evolutionary relationships. All mammals have four limbs. We also have four limbs. Reptiles have four limbs. We have two legs, two hands. Now let's see if birds have four limbs or not. The birds have two legs, we see that, but do they have two more limbs extra? Now if we do a scan of the wings of a bird, we will see that the structure of it is same as human. The structure of this limb of a bird, the structure of this hand of a human is similar, and this structure of bird is the wing. Okay, now birds use it to fly, human use it for different purposes. Humans cannot fly. So if the function is different but the structure is same, then we can say that it is homologous organ. So a frog's hand, a lizard's hand or limb, you can say limb, a bird's wing, a human's hand, they are homologous organs because they are similar in structure and different in function. Okay, then next one is analogous organs. Now see the two pictures of bat and bird. Okay, so the first one is bat, it is the wing of a bat, and the second one is the picture of the wing of a bird. But now in the wing of a bat, this part is not similar with this part because the wings of a bat are actually the additional muscles that are connected between its fingers. These are the muscles, and the bats fly like that. But in case of a bird, it's a hand, or you can say limb. Okay, so their function is same. See, their function is same, they both use it to fly, but their structures are different, so we can call it as analogous organ. Okay, so these are the examples of analogous and homologous organs. Okay, now fossils. What are fossils? Fossils are actually remains of dead animals or plants that has been stored in rocks or mud for a long time. So how do fossils are formed, we will discuss, but let's know let us know why we need fossil. Okay, now how fossils are formed. Okay, so before going to that, why do we need to study fossils? By studying fossils, we may know the evolution of organisms. There are two ways to determine how old a fossil is. The first one is by digging deeper. If a fossil is very below the ground, then you may know that that organism was very old. And if an organism, or if a fossil was found not very deep in the ground, then the organism is not that old. Okay, how do fossils form layer by layer? So let us consider 100 million years ago there was a place in which there was some sea organisms. Now the sea organisms died, and the sand of that place preserved their body and became sandstone over the course of time, and then they became fossils like this. Then of years later, some dinosaur like creatures came to that place. They also died, and their bodies are preserved in the sand, or you can say mud, and then they also became fossils like this above the sea organisms. Then some horse like creatures also died in that place millions of years later, and then they also became fossils over the stone of the dinosaur fossils. Now you can see the fossils are stored like layer by layer. First layer is the fossils of aquatic organisms, small aquatic organisms. Second layer is the fossils of dinosaur like creatures. Then third layer is the fossils of horse like creatures. So if someone digs, then they will first find the fossil of the horse, then secondly they will find the fossil of the dinosaurs, then at last they will find the fossils of the aquatic organism. So the more deeper they digs, the more deeper is the fossil in the ground, the more older the organism will be. Okay, in evolution it is possible that one change may be useful for a different reason, then after some time that change can be useful for another reason. In case of birds, they have feathers. It is possible that the feathers were developed for heat, to protect the birds from cold weather, but later on the birds developed the feathers to use for flight, to fly. Then we will see other organisms can influence in variation or evolution of a different organism. In case of wild cabbage, this is the wild cabbage. Then due to some variation, first there was cabbage like this. Then some farmers saw this cabbage and decided that they want to farm this one. So they took many variational cabbages like this and bred it, means did reproduction. Then we got this cabbage. Okay, then some wanted flower like cabbage, so they got broccoli. Then some wanted white flower in the cabbage, so they got cauliflower. Okay, so we saw that other organisms influence can change another organism's variation. Okay, evolution does not mean progress. If we see humans and a bacteria, anyone would say how advanced humans are, but some bacteria can live in extreme conditions that human cannot. Some bacteria can live in very hot climate, in less oxygen, in the depth of a sea, but humans cannot. So evolution does not mean progress. Some evolution may bring progress, some may do not bring progress, so it depends, and we cannot guarantee the progress by just evolution. Then human evolution. No matter where we are from, we all come from Africa. Okay, then some decided to go earlier. Okay, there is like this. Earlier there was people only in Africa. Then some decided to move in this direction, some decided to move in this direction. Then many years later, from this group some decided to move in this way. Then from this group some decided to move this way. Okay, now people here also and here also. Then from this group, some people wanted to go back to their early place, and then from here they went to, suppose, to this group. So when groups of people are moving from one place to another after a long time, variation keeps happening. In that place, the people have some different genetics. In this place, the people have some different genetics. Then when traveling of people keeps happening and the reproduction between them keeps happening, the variation increases more. So as the skin colors, eye colors of people in different places have different colors. Okay, so if we see, even if we see white skin, black skin, brown skin, that does not mean they are of different species. Human are of same species. We call it as Homo sapiens. Okay, so by this we have arrived at the end of this chapter. Hope you will be able to understand by watching this video. And if you have any doubts, any confusion, then you can contact me in WhatsApp. Okay, thank you.